As we know, Europe is changing, and it's not just its own citizens inside its own countries that are seeing it. Now the United States have come out and openly said it and are now planning their future around a different Europe. They have released the United States National Security Strategy for 2025, which is completely different to what was released in 2022 under the Biden administration. They're saying we could see a completely different Europe in 20 years or less. A complete civilization erasure due to immigration issues, low birth rates, and the loss of national identities. People are coming out and saying others are far right for trying to keep, to say, British culture, British traditions, German, French, Belgium, Sweden, whatever it is. But now the United States have come out and they've put it on paper that if Europe doesn't change its course, it could be completely different in 2 decades or less. And really they're saying that they could no longer be an ally or of any strength to the United States. It's an extremely long document, and there's a lot to take away from it. They are still saying that Europe is an ally, but on its current trajectory, Europe could be completely different. And it's actually saying that the Europeans will be the minority in Europe. People have been saying this, they've been coming out and saying it. They've been called racist, conspiracy theorists, but they're actually now saying it within the United States in such an important document. Europe is losing its identity. It's losing its culture. We've lost free speech. We're becoming a surveillance state. We're being tracked with every move. And the United States is now saying you need to change what you're doing, change where you're heading, because we can no longer be relied upon to be there in such a manner. We will be part of NATO, we will be an ally, but they are now pushing over to their main interest, which is obviously the Western Hemisphere. So obviously the Americas, Central America, South America, Greenland, and concentrating on gaining strength in the Indo-Pacific and competing once again with China. They're pretty much saying Europe has relied upon us far too much, and they've just said it as well. I think it was Donald Trump's son come out and said, we can no longer just continuously fund Europe and wars such as Ukraine and Russia. That yes, there will be a peace deal, but we are pulling back, we're pulling out, we're pulling the funding back. You need to be able to rely upon yourself. But on your current trajectory, you're not really going to be able to, because Europe isn't what it once was and will definitely not be if it continues on its current course. In Europe, we have changed. No one's saying you can't be multicultural. But what they're saying is you're losing your identity. You're losing your free speech. And now the United States have come out and they're openly saying that they will back sort of nationalist parties. These parties that, want to knuckle down, and they want to secure borders, they want to lower the illegal immigration. The parties that, allow free speech. Parties that want to thrive on their national identities and their national culture, which I think is an absolute brilliant thing. But can you imagine that? Europe will no longer be Europe in less than 20 years. That's not far, I'm 35. So in 20 years, they're saying Europe can be completely different. Scary to think, isn't it? Because, you've got people saying it all over YouTube. You've got a few sort of journalists saying it on news broadcasters. But to actually read it in United States national security strategy document really should open your eyes, and it makes it extremely interesting, and it makes me think, what does our current Prime Minister in the UK, Keir Starmer, think when he reads that? Because he says completely different. You know, Keir Starmer and Trump have met. They've had their meetings. He's gone there. He's come here. Keir Starmer's gone there. You know, and they've built such a great relationship. They've done great trade deals. But they are two completely different people with two different thinkings. Completely different. Keir Starmer, as we know, pretty much says he's going to stop the boats, but he won't. More of a, let's put asylum seekers first, let's look after them. As Trump is like, we're getting rid of them. We are Americans, and we will stick with American culture and traditions. And he's basically said, he hasn't named countries in it, but it's quite obvious which countries he's talking about. He's not talking about Poland, is he? You know, he's basically saying you need to change what you're doing, because if you carry on your current course, you're pretty much no good to us. They're not cutting ties, but they are stepping back from NATO. They are stepping back from Europe. But in 10, 20 years' time, they're pretty much saying if you carry on the way you are, with your weakened armed forces, you're cracking down on free speech, your immigration crisis issues, then you're pretty much no good to us. So what can Europe do? Well, secure its borders, increase its funding in defence. I think everyone should cut away from the EU because they've got completely different thinking to any sort of normal person or the United States. And Europe needs to get back to its own cultures again, its own traditions, concentrate on supporting its own citizens, and then increase its defences, increase its public services, because we cannot carry on the way we are. You know, born and bred in Britain, but you got millions of, I say millions, but thousands upon thousands of people that are moving away from Britain due to free speech issues, cost of living crisis, tax rises, national security threats. We've asked the question, do you feel safe in Britain? You know, same to the other countries, Germany, France, Sweden, Belgium, Denmark. Do you feel safe? Do you feel like your government has your interest at its heart? Are you the main interest, or have they got other interests? Because right now, there's obviously Trump haters, but from what I see, he's got America and its citizens, he's putting them first. They are the main priority. And he said that, that's what's come out in the national strategy, national security strategy. He's saying we need to concentrate on the Western Hemisphere. Greenland, Iceland is included in that, possibly UK and Portugal, but you know, Greenland, Canada, America, Central America, South America, and he wants to concentrate on the Indo-Pacific, you know, building its economy, building its health service, building on its national security, its armed forces. They have the biggest defence budget in the world by far. And he's right. You can't have countries like the UK, France, Germany, whatever it is, the rest of NATO saying, yeah, it's all right if it kicks off in Europe like it did with Ukraine and Russia, because, you know, the United States will step up. That was the case before when our defence was bigger, our militaries were bigger, we were more self-sufficient. Yeah, we need the United States, but we could still look after ourselves. We didn't have free speech issues. Trump's like, if you're going to carry on this route, we're just going to step back. We're going to concentrate on ourselves. So what happens in 5-10 years when they have withdrawn a little bit, they're still part of NATO, war kicks off in Europe, he's going to be like, well, deal with it yourself first. You know, see what you can do, and then if we need to step in a little bit, we'll step in. We're withdrawing boots on the ground. We're withdrawing funding. Why should we always be relied upon? Then we've got our own issues going on in America that we need to sort out. And he's right, really, isn't it? He is right. And that's what other countries need to think, such as the UK and the rest of Europe. We need to be self-reliant. We need to be able to look after ourselves. So, yeah, I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this. Do you think Europe's really going to change that much? It's going to be unrecognisable in 2 decades or less? Should we carry on in its current trajectory? Or do we need to start making drastic changes? And if we do, what are those changes? Comment below. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. So yeah, thanks for watching. We'll continue to keep you updated on what's going on in the UK and Europe and around the world. But there's some big shifts coming if we don't make some important changes. And with our current government, in my opinion, I don't think that's going to happen, and we're just going to continue as we are. And we're just going to see the erosion of British culture, British traditions. So yeah, comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.